Yeah, I'll hop in here real quick. So Nick with Houston Associates. I'm the local regional manager covering mainly the New England territory with Kevin Harrison, who we've been traveling up in Maine all day today. So if my data is spotty, I apologize. Kevin should be hopping on here shortly. But Mr. Piro, who is a Lutron extraordinaire and guru after his numerous years within the Lutron organization, is going to kind of run this. I'm going to be in the background tackling any of the questions that you guys have. So please do utilize that chat feature. I will pause and find breaks inside this presentation to make sure that those are announced and then answered appropriately. So I want to thank everybody for the time and give it over to Mr. Piro.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Nick. So Joe Piro with Houston. I handle our New York side of the equation for the agency. So again, like as Nick mentioned, I did work at Lutron for a number of years before joining Houston, so hopefully I know some of this product. But wanted to thank Green Mountain for setting it up. Thank everybody for taking the time, especially as we near towards the end of our day here. So we'll keep this light. It'll definitely be under the half hour. What we wanted to do was just kind of go through a quick overview of Lutron, some new things, and then really kind of talk more about the smart home product Caseta, which hopefully most of you on this call are well aware of. But kind of show you maybe some new things that maybe you haven't seen, or just a refresher on kind of some of the options you have with Caseta. Obviously, we love doing things like this in person and things like that, but this is a great way to kind of hit the masses, and then you have the local team to follow up. Obviously, if anything comes of this, or you'd like to see any of the product, or kind of dive deeper into anything we talk about. So as Kim mentioned, though, please chime in, throw it in the chat, raise a hand. Absolutely your guys' session. So let us know how we can help. But I will, what I'm going to do is kick it over to a PowerPoint just because it's easier to see the stuff that I'll be talking about. And I will turn off my camera just because I've had issues where when I've presented while showing my face, it's gotten choppy. So I'm going to go off camera and then go in presentation mode, and anyone chime in if I am choppy or something's not coming through clear. So as I was talking about, just kind of an overview for Lutron, this should be old news, but I kind of like to start every session with something like this just so folks know that, a couple years back, Lutron did rebrand their LED dimmers to LED Plus. Same dimmers you've been using, your DVCL, your AYCL, your SCL 153. It's all the same dimmer, just if you should know by now, but they're in new boxes and the new branding is LED Plus. Wanted to touch on in-wall occupancy sensors offering by Lutron. Hopefully many of you guys on the call know that Lutron is in this space, and we have a full line of in-wall occupancy sensors for really any application, both commercially and residentially. But what we wanted to really kind of hone in on today was kind of talking more on the residential geared devices, right? So Lutron has your 120, 277 volt commercially rated dual technology, meets code, meets spec on the commercial front, but they do have a line of sensors that I think play very well in the residential space and at the right price point where they're not much more than a LED rated product for a standalone dimmer or switch. But you get that additional functionality of having some automation in your home via the occupancy sensor on the device. So, Lutron, when we look at that, it's really the two SKUs that we focus on the residential side are 120 volt rated only, but C.L dimmer version, which is that same dimmer that we talked about at the beginning. So it'll dim your LED lighting loads, and then a 2 and a 5 amp one. The 2 amp version is just for lighting, just does 2 amps on and off, but that is at a really low price point where it fits the residential market. And then the 5 amp one is rated for 5 amps of lighting, but it could also handle like a motor load. So it's good for like a bathroom exhaust fan as well. So some of the areas where, I think that, there's a big opportunity to start plugging some of these devices in are bathrooms, laundry rooms, walk-in closets, any closet that has a light in it, a pantry, a garage, an entryway. Because at the end of the day, it is home automation, right? It may not be a smart home product. It may not be on your phone. You may not pull it up on an app, but it does automate the lights in your home and make things more convenient, right? If it's in your laundry room and customers carrying a load of laundry and they open the door, they don't have to use their elbow to hit the switch. The light could come on automatically. Or same thing in the bathroom. If you were to enter the bathroom in the middle of the night and you wanted the light to come on, or you didn't have to fumble for the switch. So it's a great device that is home automation. It's simple, it's standalone, but it is home automation. Think about a closet. So all Lutron sensors can be set to be occupancy or vacancy. The difference there is, right, occupancy is going to be auto on, auto off. You don't touch anything. Vacancy, you have to still turn something on manually, but it'll shut off after a given timeout. So I think that's a great application for a vacancy sensor in a home, would be like a closet light or something that always gets left on because folks forget to turn it off. Same thing with maybe an exhaust fan in the bathroom. You may want the exhaust fan on vacancy mode because you don't want the exhaust fan coming on every single time you walk in the bathroom. But you still want it to shut off after whatever you set that timeout is for it to move the air around. So like in a bathroom setup, you may have two devices on the wall. One's doing your light, one's doing your bathroom exhaust fan. You'd set the bathroom exhaust fan on vacancy. You'd set the light on occupancy, meaning you walk in the bathroom, the light comes on automatically. You don't touch anything, but the fan only comes on if you manually turn it on. But either way, both of those devices are going to be automatically shut off after a given timeout. So going just back, another reason why Lutron sensors, I think, fit very well in the residential market is just from the look, style, and aesthetic of them. They do not look like an obnoxious commercial device with a big globe on it. It looks like a Maestro style device, comes in all the Lutron colors, has a very small profile, slim lens to where it doesn't look ugly on the wall next to your dimmers and switches in a home. As I mentioned before, with the ones that just do lighting for our 2 and our 5 amp, a laundry room, a closet, a garage, a hallway, great opportunity to add these devices in because, like I said, it is home automation. It is a convenience factor that is just doing a little bit more than the basic switch.
So we do have a question in the chat coming in from Lee asking if these require a neutral wire.
Nope, we have options that have a neutral that is required. We have options that have a neutral that is optional, but our most basic model, like that 2 and 5 amp, do not require a neutral. Just, two more devices to talk about on the residential side are the dimming version of it, right? Not a lot of people out there have a in-wall occupancy sensor that can also do dimming. This is a great application for like a master bathroom where you get up in the middle of the night and you go to use the bathroom and you don't want the light to go to 100% because you're going from a dark bedroom in the middle of the night. You don't want the light to go to 100% because it would shock you. You could have the dimmer set at 10%. So when you walk in the middle of the night, your eyes don't get, you don't get blasted with all that light. It goes to a low light level. And if you wanted to dim it up, you could, or dim it down. And the other one would be this dual circuit. This is more designed commercially, but I think it has some residential play where you have a light and a fan in a bathroom that are on two different switch legs, and you only have one gang box in the wall, where you could have this device where you could wire the light to one of them and the fan to the other one. So that, again, I'll get off my soapbox on in-wall sensors. I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that Lutron has a full line of them, both commercially and residentially, and has some things from a price standpoint, as well as the look and feel of it that, can fit very nicely in a residential application. So kind of what we really wanted to focus on, go ahead. I don't know if that had a question or a sneeze. I'm not looking at the screen. But what we really want to do is talk about Caseta, which hopefully for many on the call, it's more of a refresher, but just wanted to, again, Caseta was launched now coming up on 8+ years ago. And it is a product line for Lutron that continues to expand, continues to evolve, is by far Lutron's fastest growing product launch they've ever had with any set of products. And it continues to be. By no means, if the fact that Caseta was launched 8 years ago doesn't mean it's an old product. It is still a new product, and Lutron is continuing to come out with innovations within it. So when you're looking at the screen right now, you can kind of see the entire system offering for Caseta, from different dimmers and switch styles to plug-in modules for floor lamps to occupancy sensors that can tie into a system to outdoor plugs for areas that, you're not worried about dimming, or areas like that needs to be outdoor rated, but you need to automate your lights. Big benefit to Caseta, especially when you're utilizing the Caseta bridge and you're using the app, is it works with all the smart home product out there, right? So it works with Alexa, it works with Apple HomeKit, it works with Google Home and Ring and Samsung Smart Things, and partnership with Sonos speakers. So if you have Sonos speakers throughout your house, you can interplay the Lutron stuff as well with your music. Caseta is great because you can control lights from anywhere, right? You have Pico remotes. That is the best way to add a switch location to anything, but you also have the ability to pull up the app anywhere that you have cell service and tap into your system at home. So some of the key benefits of Caseta, is definitely to add the second switch anywhere. I mean, that is by far the number one reason why Caseta is sold today. It isn't because of the bridge. It isn't because of the phone app. It isn't because of all the smart home stuff. It's because it saves the day when you get a call to add a switch location to an area of someone's house, where now you can do that with no additional wiring. You're not cutting any holes. You're not tracing wire up through an attic. You're not cutting holes in people's backsplashes in their kitchen, because you can simply add a Pico anywhere and pair it back to a switch or dimmer. Caseta is also nice because
Joe, it's Nick. We have a question here asking if the Caseta switch can be located in a non-heated area such as a detached garage.
Everything. So the disclaimer right there, right? Anything Lutron is indoor rated, right? So nothing is rated for outdoors other than the outdoor plug that we'll talk about. However, I would say that if it's a detached garage, it will operate the same way any other switch would that isn't outdoor rated. One big benefit to Caseta with Lutron is the theme of, you can start small and expand later. You don't have to sell an end user on putting every device in their house, replacing it with Caseta, having the bridge, having an app. You can start it with just having it be the new way that you do a three-way wiring application, and that's what you have on your truck every time you got to go add a switch location. And then when the customer starts wanting to add more devices, or they're asking if it can be on their phone, or they want to do different things, you can add the bridge and expand the system at any time. You don't have to do it all at once. A lot of flexible options with Caseta between the dimmers and switchers, where you can have true wired three-way dimming applications, as well as the most common one, as I mentioned before, is utilizing the Pico remote to do the wireless pairing to do a three-way that way. So we're going to talk about it, but some of the newest members of Caseta in terms of the actual devices is the new Diva aesthetic, which, we'll go into, but, Lutron, when Caseta was launched eight years ago, the number one request Lutron got was, we need it in paddle style. We need it in Decora paddle style to match the Decora devices in the house. So, this came out last year to where now we have Diva, the Diva style, which is the number one selling dimmer in the country. That style that has a light bar on the side of it for the dimmer, and then has for the switch one, it just has one light indication. But again, now you can have a smart dimmer in the Caseta family that works off the app and works off Picos that have that Diva paddle style aesthetic to match other devices in the house. So this is kind of a side-by-side of your options for, wall box dimmers and switches for Caseta. You have, what we would consider the original version, which is, looks more like the traditional Pico that you might be familiar with. So you have the dimmer option and the switch option, and then now, or you have the new aesthetic, which is the Diva style, which is, looks like a Diva dimmer, and again, has that mechanical slide on it, but it does have a light bar that trails it. So when you take a look at the original dimmer, as I mentioned before, it looks and feels a lot like a Pico, right? Where the top button turns the lights on, bottom turns them off, and then you can raise and lower the lights, and you get LED status on the side. Comes in gloss colors only, and only these four: white, light almond, ivory, and black. The switch, same thing. You just have on, off, and same four gloss colors that you have available with the dimmer. If you jump to the Diva Smart aesthetic, You got a couple different things you can do with the Diva, where you could tap once to go on to the preset, or you could double tap to go to 100%. The nice light bar glow, that's a nice feature, right? When Lutron came out with LED dimmers and they went away from the incandescent dimmer, like your DV600 got replaced with the DVCL, you lost that backlight that used to be in an incandescent dimmer, that orange glow light that people liked as an indicator light. Now, in theory, the light bar on the side, always illuminates very faintly, but always illuminates and can be used as kind of that, what I'll call that night glow light bar. And if you're using the app, you can adjust the how bright that light bar is in the app. Oh, so here you go, right? So if you're utilizing the bridge, you're able to do some cool things with advanced programming of the Diva, where again you can do things like disable or change the brightness of the light bar. So that's a nice feature. The switch is, very simple, on, off, and then it has an indicator light on it. What's nice now with the Diva Smart, with the Caseta device, if you ever wanted to do a 3-way application, if you wanted to dim from 2 locations, you had to use a Pico. You could do a 3-way Caseta dimmer wired, but the other location was going to be a mechanical switch. And Lutron would always recommend that you put a Pico there instead anyway. That way you have true dimming at both locations. Or with Diva Smart, we do have an accessory dimmer that would wire like a companion device, to where you can now actually have true 3-way dimming wired with Diva Smart. The power of the Pico, it's still, I think, one of the coolest devices Lutron has for everything that it can do. Different mounting styles, right? So you can sit on a tabletop on a pedestal, or the most common one is mounting it right to a junction box, or mounting it right to a wall or someone's backsplash without having to cut a hole and mud anything in. Pairing the Pico, again, remember that Caseta can be what I would call standalone. If you just wanted to add Caseta devices and pair it to a remote, so you could do 3-way applications or like an all on, all off in an area, you can do all that what I would call standalone, no bridge, no Wi-Fi, no app, where you're just button press pairing the Pico to communicate to the Caseta dimmer or switch that you just wired up. So the motto is, you can add a Pico anywhere, right? To where, you got a switch at the top of the stairs, you get a call because the customer wants it at the bottom. You can do that very easily with Caseta without having to fish any wires to make that 3-way happen. This is just kind of giving you a visual of what that looks like. New to the Pico family. So just like when Lutron launched Caseta, everybody wanted the Diva style dimmer. Once Lutron launched the Diva style dimmer, everybody wanted the paddle style Pico to match. So now there is a battery operated paddle Pico that'll match your Diva aesthetic, that'll wirelessly pair to the wired dimmer and switch. And it has the same, sits in the same adapter plate, same tabletop pedestal as your regular Pico. It just has that paddle style aesthetic. And right now what it'll do is it'll go just turn on and off. It does not do any dimming from the Pico. If you are using the bridge for Caseta, it will go to the preset or where the slider's at on the Diva dimmer that's wired. So again, as you can see, it works with Caseta, works with Radio Raw 3. That's kind of what it looks like. Again, it mounts the same way a traditional Pico would. So it mounts in the same wall plate. A device that I wouldn't say is new, but still definitely very popular, is the outdoor plug. This is a great device. This one is outdoor rated and wet location rated. It has a ground on it, doesn't do dimming, just on off. And what's nice about this is, you could plug something into this, and just if you wanted to put it on a Pico, so when you walk out your patio door, you can turn on your, I'll say rope lighting or whatever you may have over your deck. Obviously, as we get into the holidays, people are doing holiday lights all the time. This is a nice way to be able to either add that to a Pico remote, or what's nice is if you're using the bridge, It's a very easy way to put outdoor lighting on an easy time clock that you can do based on sunrise and sunset. Because once it's part of a Lutron Caseta system with the bridge, you can program it just like you would a dimmer. So you can set it at a time clock event, and you can set that time clock event to be based on time of the day or based on sunrise or sunset. So again, great product for as we get into holiday, when people do holiday lights, and then people doing outdoor lights, like I said, string lights, rope lights. I don't think there's an outdoor deck these days that doesn't have some version of rope lighting. So Caseta, once you incorporate a bridge, that's what makes it a smart home. That's what gives you the app control. It is a free app with Lutron. And what you can do is with one bridge, you can do 75 Caseta devices per system. The bridge needs to have a hardwired connection into your router. What's also nice with Caseta now is we have a repeater. So when you have wireless range and you're trying to do maybe a bigger home, or you're trying to do another area of the house where with one bridge, we're kind of at that wireless bubble, you can add a repeater that doesn't have an Ethernet connection, so it doesn't need to plug into your internet. It just needs power, and what it does is it doubles the wireless range of your system for Caseta. You can only have one repeater per system. Caseta has different kits to get started, right? So you can buy all Caseta devices a la carte, but Lutron has done a good job kind of bundling what is very common kind of starter kits that get someone started with a smart home, where it comes with a bridge, a dimmer, and a Pico at a lesser cost than buying it all individually. And now you kind of have your starter kit to keep on the truck when you're trying to get people into this smart home space, where you can get them going with this system and then add individual dimmers and switches as it goes. You can also do, Lutron has for switching and dimming 3-way kits that come with the dimmer and the Pico and the adapter plate. So you can do 3-way applications, with one SKU versus buying everything individually. I circled this one in red. It'll make more sense at the end of this, but this is a very common kit that gets people into the space or gets people into the smart home conversation, where you get started. You get a bridge, you get a dimmer and a Pico, so you're off and running to kind of get someone started with a smart home. This is just giving you a snapshot of the different kits. As I mentioned before, there's some, 3-way switching kits, 3-way dimming kits, the plug-in module that plugs into an outlet, and then you can put a Pico to it for floor lamps. So think about if you got floor lamps throughout your house that you're normally running around twisting the knob to turn them on and off. You could use one of these floor lamp modules that plugs into your outlet. You plug a lamp into it, you put it on a Pico, you mount the Pico on the wall. Now your floor lamps are acting like fixtures in a space. As I mentioned, the reason why I circled that kit is, one thing that, Green Mountain has put together that's going to be kicking off next month is a promotion centered around Lutron, where if you buy one of those Diva Smart starter kits, you also get an outdoor smart plug free. Limit 1 per account while supplies last, in-store only. And again, that's going to kick off May 1st. But again, that's a nice promotion that, Kim and Green Mountain has put together. That again, you buy that starter kit and you'll get the free outdoor plug. Again, that outdoor plug is awesome to put on a simple time clock event, but it's also nice if you just want to put it on a Pico because you want to make one of your outdoor receptacles on a switch. So with that, I think we're a few minutes early, but that's all I had. I don't know if there was any more questions or anything, or Nick, if you got anything.
I apologize. Technical difficulties. No, I'm good. I thought that was well. I mean, here's the bottom line. Caseta for us is a big winner. We think that there's huge opportunities at Outdoor Plug right now. I mean, I cut my grass for the first time this past weekend, so I'm excited to be able to get outside, to be able to do barbecues, to be able to have some type of fire pits out there with the family. We're very excited to partner with Green Mountain. We're going to continue to push these various products. I put list pricing on some of the new items that Joe mentioned inside the chat. So if you have any questions, I will pop in my information. Joe, if you would do the same. Again, there is a great deal of interest in the smart home series of products. And while we've highlighted some of the capabilities today, there are definitely some additional ones once you add in that bridge with geofencing and to be able to turn lights on and off, to be able to dive into shades. We've talked about it here. I think I'm in Portland still, Portland, Maine. And if I control this, let's see if I can get really fancy here, folks, to give you a quick background. If I sit here and I wanted to share my screen as I sit here, and boy, oh boy, this would get really bad if my wife is around. I can control and show my lights from anywhere. Right? That's the idea that's there. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to broadcast this because I have 30 seconds. And Kim, I'm going to maximize my time.
Ooh, this is fancy.
So while you're doing that, Nick, I'll just answer. So Shane, you had a question on the Diva Pico. You cannot dim from the Pico. It'll go to the preset of where the dimmer's at, but it'll only do that if you're using the bridge. If you're doing it standalone with the Diva Smart Dimmer and the Diva Pico, it's just going to go on off. But if you're using the bridge, it'll go to the light level that the slider's at on the Diva. But currently today, that Pico has no dimming functionality on the actual Pico. You would need to use your traditional Pico that has the raised lower on it.
We are getting a peek into my house. That is my living room right now.
Look at the dog.
Okay, he's not supposed to be there, but if I fling that away, I'm going to go back to my Lutron app. Right now, my living room light is off. I'm going to turn that on. Those shades that are currently open in blue, I'm going to close those guys by hitting that bottom button as well. Don't believe me because I say it. As I go back to that Ring camera and I reconnect back to my living room, you're going to let this thing load as it catches back up. My light is now on. And as important, my dog is now stopping my shades from being able to open and close. But the idea is there. You have instant capability to control lights anywhere that I have a data signal. I'm on 5G right now. This is a great product. And my system, as I spin this around, my system started, honestly, with a plug-in lamp dimmer. That's my other little guy right there. And that Pico. Because I had switched receptacles. And all I needed to do was put a Pico there, a Pico over there, and then that four-way application. They do get smaller. But that's the idea. Find the application that fits your needs, right? Find the solution-solving application. If somebody comes in and has plaster, there's no way I want to touch that and try and fish some wires. Start with that Diva three-way kit. Dive into the outdoor plug, and please reach out to us if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you to Kim, you and your team for allowing us to have this presentation. And if you have any additional questions, pop them in the chat and we'll go from there.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Just to wrap it up, and if you have a question, just pop it in the chat real quick or raise your hand. But I will email you all some follow-up material as well as a copy of the promotion. Again, it starts May 1st. We're super excited about that. It's very important to us here at Green Mountain to make sure our sales team, which are on this call as well, get them educated, keep all of our new products and solutions front of their mind so that they can help drive Green Mountain as our customer's first choice, because you guys obviously have a lot of choices where you can get your supplies. So we're encouraging you to stick with Green Mountain and use our salespeople and our Houston representatives. They have a ton of knowledge, as you likely know. So we definitely want to remain your first choice and offer you other cool webinar and training opportunities. So thank you, everyone. If there's no further questions, we'll let everybody go and we'll talk to y'all soon. Going once, going twice. All right. Thank you all and have a great day. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.